Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I tried to record this a little bit earlier, and I got kind of upset with some of the stuff that was being said, but I decided to kind of re-record it, stay objective, and just get to the bottom of it. And I am going to give some of my opinions, so just a quick warning: if you get upset with people's opinions and you get very easily upset, just skip this video. I got a lot more videos coming up, but pretty much what we have right now is we have somebody in the forum making a post to the developers and making some statements. We're going to go over the statements, see if they're true or false, and we're going to go over some dev replies as well, because the devs have replied to this, and we're going to go from there. But yeah, if you get easily upset, just skip the video. I'm going to be honest with you, because we're going to debunk some stuff that people said. We're going to, put some facts in people's faces to kind of, prove the points and stuff of that nature. But like always, I'm going to link this down below if you guys want to read about it more. But let's get right into it. So the first statement, by the way, I don't know if this is pronounced Callum or Calum. I'm going to call it C. All right. So at C, can we please get some clarification on where the developers believe the game is at the moment? Many of the arguments that seem to be manifesting on the forums at the moment is over the recent delay we had and the lack of updates during that period. This has left some players feeling like the game is not progressing. I'm not saying we need a 25.4572463% kind of update on where we are, more of between 20 to 40% completion type thing. Okay, so he wants an update, percentage update. Where are we at, right? I, for one, would also appreciate some sort of regular update on our ideas and which ones are being discussed by the developers. This would help both the developers and the players, in that many feel their ideas are being ignored and therefore stop putting them up. This is not beneficial to either side and ultimately could be detrimental to both sides if it continues. As players will completely give up putting forward ideas, and the game will never get to be as great as it could be. Regards, the guy who made the thread, and hopefully most of the rest of the forum crew. Okay. So let's see the statements, right? So many of the arguments that seem to be manifesting in the forum in the moment is over the recent delay we had and the lack of updates during this period. Okay, so before I do start stating things, like I stated before, if you're easily upset, just understand, I'm not coming at this guy. I'm not coming at anybody at the forums. I'm going to read the statement. I'm going to see if it's true or false, and I'm going to try to provide some background info, to kind of, talk about the situation, if that kind of makes sense, or discuss the situation. So don't take it to heart. Now that we got that warning out the way, so the period that pretty much, the recent delay we had has been explained by the devs thoroughly. Many times has gotten reply from to people on the forums, to the point where it just it was just like a copy paste at that point, because everybody kept asking without doing any research of their own, and it was very easy to do research because it was talked about everywhere, and there was many dev replies stating that there was a code refactor, and a lot of bugs came from that code refactor, so they had to fix that before they can release any update. And for people who don't know, when you do a code refactor, you can't really release updates during the code refactor because it just doesn't work that way. You can Google what code refactor means. You can Google how it works. It's very simple. Next, this has left some players feeling like the game is not progressing. I can understand that. Looking from an outside perspective, I can understand that. I'm not saying we need a 20... Okay, so... Yeah, okay. Next one. So, I, for one, would appreciate some sort of a regular update. So, for this part, where he wants a regular update for people's ideas and discussions with developers, there's been plenty. There's been so many. As you can see, even by my channel, you can go on my channel right now, I have many dev talk videos. And my dev talk videos talk about pretty much what the devs say, state, and reply to people on the forums, right? And I make one pretty much every single day with 5 or 6 or even more replies from the developers per day. So they do reply, they do talk about people's ideas, they do say thank you for the feedback, we're going to discuss this with the team and all of that. So ideas are being discussed, stuff is being done. Now, this would help both the developers and players. Many feel their ideas are being ignored and therefore stop putting them up. As players, okay. So another thing I think he means by this statement overall is he wants, like, let's say a thread where the developers state all the ideas being brought forward. Now here's why I think this is a bad idea. Because here's another reason, and I'll give you an example of a game that did this and then crashed really hard on release. So a very popular game that did this, they've made a comeback now, but what was it called? No Man's Sky. Do you remember when they did all those interviews and all that other stuff and answered all these ridiculous questions, right? And they always said, yes, we have this. Yes, we have this. Yes, we have this. Because as developers, they thought, oh, well, we're saying this now, but everything is subject to change. But in the consumer's eyes, everyone thought, oh, they said yes to this. The game has all of this stuff. I'm going to go, I'm going to take a break off work. I'm going to play this all day because all these things that he stated from 2-3 years ago, before the game even released, they're all going to be in the game. False. Even the devs nowadays, whenever they do make posts on the forums, they even put that little disclaimer because, sometimes people need to hear it. But here's the truth. If they made one of these threads where they stated all the stuff that's being discussed, all of a sudden, in people's eyes, in players' eyes, and people on the forum, they would think to themselves, oh, all these discussions, they're all going to be in the game. No. I bet you the devs discuss so much things that, that are ideas, but they never make it to the actual game because they have to work with, what they got and what makes sense. And, it is what it is. I don't know how else to explain it. And if this type of thread was made, a lot more people are going to be upset when their favorite discussion that was, discussed but not implemented into the game, they're going to be very upset about it. Very upset. So I don't think this is the best thing to do. But like I said before, devs do reply to a lot of threads with ideas and stuff of that nature, and they tell the person who made the thread, we're going to bring this up to the team, we're going to see if it works, and we're going to see what happens, right? And I think that's the best way to actually do it. And if this statement also means like updates that the let's say the devs give to the community, we do have those. We just received a video a couple of days ago. If we go on the original forum right over here, the new patch, there's a lot of new replies from the devs. We also have, if you go to this single player tab over here and the multiplayer tab, you can see statements regarding plans for single player and engine. There's your plans for the future. Then we have a statement regarding plans for multiplayer. Here's your plans for multiplayer. Plus, here's another crazy thing. If you go on any developer name, or let's say like the community manager, you go to latest activity, you can see all the replies that he's done, everything that he's said, postings, stuff that he's posted. So you can see where the replies are happening. You can see where they want to go. Or if you really want to, go watch my YouTube videos. You know what I mean? There's the plug. But in all seriousness, like I try to keep people informed of what the developers are saying on a daily basis. So they are replying. I promise you they are. I've been doing this for like pretty much since release, to be honest with you, where I've been looking at what the developers are saying and pretty much communicating it back to, the community. So they are active, if that kind of makes sense, right? It just a little bit of research, a little bit of searching, and you'll find that they are very active. Now let's read some replies. They'll be putting out dev updates soon, like they have put out that video and stuff of that nature. Maybe do a little searching on Cam's post history before making threads like this. Yeah, I think he does want the update. He kind of wants the thread about the ideas, which I don't think is the best idea. But I guess the update thing is kind of valid to see where we're at in the game. So I kind of do understand. I'm not gonna lie, right? But how did that answer my question? All that is about is a new way of announcing each update. Nothing to do with how far in development of the game that they believe they are at, and nothing to let us know if our ideas are being discussed. That is untrue. Why it's untrue is because in those posts that this person told him to look at, that the developers do state, hey, we're doing this, we're this far into here, you know what I mean? This is coming out later in the future. They do give hints, they do give, you know, announcements. They do. And if you do go into the devs post history, you can find all of that. Yes, it's not nicely on like one thread where all the dev replies are like that, like, you know what I mean, in a row. But if you want to do some research, if you want to do some digging, you can find it. Here's the first dev reply. Right now we are in early access. That is how far along we are in development. Okay. I know that sounds like a non-answer because it kind of is. And what you really want to hear is a specific percentage, but unfortunately the only way I would be able to give you such a number would be by lying to you, which I'm not prepared to do. There you go. So there's not a number, there's not a percentage, but they are in early access. You know, like they can't really give you much more than that. Plus they have given a lot of stuff, you know, like I said before, in their post history. However, what I can say is that our original estimate when releasing the game was to spend around a year in early access before the full release, and I think we are still on track for that. Okay, so there's your answer. You know, they are on track for the full release in about a year. So there's the progress report. I think that's substantial. You know, you didn't get a percentage, but it said what he had to say. What he had to say, right? Alrighty, so reply, fair enough. It was more to stop the bickering that is happening in the forums. Listen, dog, that ain't gonna stop. That ain't gonna stop. I promise you. Negativity never stops. The other question was ideas to put in the forums. Can we get clarification? One, whether they are being looked at by the developers and what they use as a basis. Is it the amount of positive replies a thread gets or some other method? I'm gonna answer that for the developers. They reply to all types of threads, regardless of how big, how small. If they have an answer to give to you, if they have something helpful to say, they are going to say it. You know, there's been a post with only 1 or 2 replies, and the developers reply. You know, even this post, if you really look at it, original post, 1 reply, 2 replies, dev. You know what I mean? So the devs are active. They'll reply to threads they know they could help with, regardless of the size or popularity, if that kind of makes sense. And in terms of the ideas, if somebody makes an idea thread and the devs do see it, they do comment on it, and if they think it's a good idea, they say they will discuss it. If they don't think it's a good idea for the game, they state that as well. So they are being honest. Let's see. I'm not even gonna. No. We're not even gonna talk about this guy. This guy's a troll. This guy's a certified troll. I swear to God. You can look. Hey, if you want to look at some funny post history, go follow the link below. Look at this guy's post history. This guy is like, I don't know how to explain it. He's an official troll. I think he knows it at this point as well. Alrighty, so next post. I would consider this to be pretty bad news, actually. Does this mean just a bit of bug fixing and polish and not so much content or features? Pretty much little new content will probably be DLC. Damn, that means the game will be screwed up. And the game will end up like it is today. I will not pay for this DLC. Oh, here we go. Somebody states an opinion. We have an agreement. Pretty much lol. You know, sounds factual right there. The pretty much lol sounds very factual. Then this guy believes this statement. And he... let me explain something to you guys. So here's what they said in their early access statement and statements after that as well. The first couple months of early access, this is what they stated. I don't remember the exact months. I don't know if it was 4 to 6 months. I don't remember the exact months. But for the first part of early access, their main focus, as they stated, is performance, stability, FPS problems, crash fixes, and overall getting as many people to be able to play the game smoothly as possible. That is what they were aiming at. You know what I mean? And I think they've done a good job. If you look at launch till now, there's been a lot of performance upgrades. The game has become a lot smoother. Yes, there's still bugs. They're still working on it. It is what it is. But if you look at the beginning, the launch of this game to now, you can't say it hasn't improved. And if you do, that's false. I've played at the beginning. I've played now. I've over, I think, close to 400 hours. Yes, there's a noticeable difference. And if you don't believe me, You can go on your Steam page if you did get it on Steam, and you can revert the patch back to the first patch that came out, play that for a couple hours, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So there it is. And they stated once the performance, stability, and all that is done, then they will move on to content and stuff of that nature. But, and I agree with this way of actually fixing the game and, you know, getting the game ready for release, because there's a lot of games nowadays, I'm not going to name names, but that they produce so much content into the game. They just push content. Oh my God, look at this shiny new thing that you can do. Oh my God, look at this crazy new thing you can do. Jesus, this is great. But here's the problem. Their games are so buggy that you don't even get to enjoy all that content that the game has, if that kind of makes sense, right? There's so many games that I've seen come out that have such a great concept and so much stuff that you can do. Here's the biggest problem though. You try to do it, your game crashes. You try to do it, your FPS drops to 3. You know, so in my opinion, I think the best games, even if, you know, if we can agree, like based on numbers, the best games out right now, in terms of like, let's say even the top 10 games, right? They're all very smooth. They're very, you know, performance is great. All of that is amazing because that's the baseline for a good game. You need to have a stable game, and then you could add content on top of that. If you put a lot of content and you spend zero time on the performance and stability aspect of the game, it's not going to be that much of a good game. You know, it is what it is. And we've seen it time and time again where companies have released games with so much content but so little stability, and they've failed. It is what it is. So I think the devs, they want a stable platform, a stable base for the game before they consider adding content. And I don't think that's unreasonable. But let me know if I'm wrong. I just don't think that's unreasonable. And they have stated this publicly to everybody who's bought the game. So I don't know what to say. Now, Mod Blade series is all about mods. The only thing getting that now is mod tools. There's a limit of what people can do by hand by just editing your XML or decompiling and rewriting the C code. That is true, but mod tools are coming soon. I don't know when, but they are coming soon. They said sometime during the early access process. So we will see when that comes out, and I'll let you guys know. That's a lot of reading. Let me take a drink. Okay. Or they have a bunch of things still in internal testing and want to get them out faster when the game no longer causes other bugs and the performance is good. Oh, we have a person. Oh my goodness, we have a person with somewhat of a, you know, clear head. I like that. So like I just stated before, you know, they probably do have stuff in the works, but they don't want to release it until performance and other bugs are good, you know? It would be easier perhaps to get over all the engine and performance stuff, like reduced file sizes, better animation processing, and many things that we see in the latest patches first before you start some larger things like companion stories, buildings or items or permadeath, inheritance systems, and all of that, which are larger files. But without large chances to cause significant bugs, okay? When you start releasing this stuff now, it would be a lot harder to find old bugs or ways to optimize the code, and it would get buried under large amounts of more or less safe files. At least you have to think about the amount of new maps that they integrate into the game since release. When the tools are really so easy to use, I have no idea what he's saying here. Okay, so he's saying one person builds all the maps. Okay. When you listen to the dev blogs, they were described how easy it is to build new maps now, so I'm pretty sure that it would be possible even for a small group of 2 to 3 people to build more than 4 to 5 maps that we've got. Okay, so he's kind of talking about the multiplayer, right? But the first half of this statement, again, I agree on it 100%. Before you add huge content patches, you need to balance the base game, the performance, the stability, and I think it makes sense. I'm just another player, but as someone who has worked as a software engineer, I ask you to consider this. This game released on early access on 3/30, so we are barely 1/3 of the way through early access period. In a normal development cycle, bug fixes, balancing, and that sort of improvements must come before adding additional features. Boom. The reason is that if you add features to an already buggy foundation, you are going to dig yourself into a hole that is difficult to climb out of. As you can see, there's a lot of games that are in this hole. I've seen this in other early access releases, and the result of taking that approach is far more significant lashback and sometimes multiple years in early access and almost permanently residing in early access. Yes, another thing we've seen a lot of games that just stay in early access for years because there's so many problems with it and it's so hard to fix because, ooh, we got all the content. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, players need to consider how ambitious of a game this is. We have additive action-based combat, which is fully implemented RPG and player quest mechanics overlaid on an open-ended, non-linear grand strategy companion map. God damn. In a fully simulated medieval world that goes as far as to integrate marriage, birthing, a dynamic economy, tons of quests, and the list goes on. Yes, this is a crazy thing people don't understand. While the game might be basic right now, the basic functions of the game are crazy if you think about it, because everything as a player is playing, stuff is happening all over the world. Like he stated, economy-wise, marriage, birthing, battles with different things, upgrades of troops for different lords across the map. Like, it's you know what I mean? It's not just a game where, let's say, you're going through something and stuff doesn't get activated until you get to it. Like, stuff is always going on, But, like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it's very hard to make a game like this, if that kind of makes sense, right? I'm not even a software engineer. Well, I tried to make a game. I'm not going to lie to you. I did some coding in college. I tried to make a game. Yeah. It's very hard to make a game like this. I promise you. To summarize, I don't think that only a year in EA should indicate a lack of new features. In the latest beta 1.4.3, a slew of new features are implemented, including new quests, story content, UI changes. Exactly. A lot of new content is being added, but it's just, I guess it's not what people wanted, but that stuff is coming. You gotta, patience is key. I'd expect more advanced features to come later in the early access period. True. That said, any new features that are chosen to have fit within the time constraints the devs have set for themselves. Okay. Lastly, in the past, when Tailwords has released DLC, it isn't because their base game is in any way unfinished, like we see the games like CK2, Stellaris, The Sims. The DLC have always essentially been an entirely different game on an entirely different map. True. What was that called? It's not Viking Conquest, right? Like, come on. Let's be honest, An entirely new experience that is worth the money. Yeah, the DLC has always been worth the money. I don't think anybody can disagree with that, So, if I could offer Tailwords any constructive criticism, it would be that you would benefit with some additional help in PR. Yeah, I guess, yeah. When a negative comment receives a response, even if it is simply, we're working on that and we will continue that and consider we apologize for the issue, this type of irregular activity and response can discourage further negativity in a positive way. Yeah, I agree with this guy's statement almost all in all, It stated how it's stated. It gave its little, references, little this, and that. Good statement, in my opinion. Very good. Alrighty, so we have a reply from the devs, first from the troll, and then from another player. You should expect everything that we talked about in the EA description of the store page and possibly a few things more. I'm really not sure how you jumped to the conclusion from the comment I made about us expecting to be in EA for around a year. I understand how they jumped to conclusions, I'll be honest with you. Like, these guys, listen, if you don't word your statement just the right way, right? They're going to take one word and they're going to run with it. You know how they say a picture is worth 1,000 words or whatever that statement is, right? For people on this forum, for some players on this forum, one word is worth 1,000 words to them. They'll take that one word and they're going to run with it. They're going to make threads about it. They're going to say this, and the third. I know that's just how it's been. Alrighty, so let me help you understand. Roughly 1/3 of the early access is complete and the progression of the game is close to zero content-wise. No reason to believe that the rest 2/3 will be different, especially considering that you are on the track. Now let me help you understand, mister. Let me help you understand, alright? So, like they stated before, like I said before, and like the person above stated before, early access, they stated that they will work on performance, stability, FPS, crash fixes, and bugs in general for the first part of early access. We are still on the first part of early access. So content-wise, this is exactly what we were described. And I'll be honest with you, from the start of this game till now, we have gotten good content. We have gotten improvements to a lot of the UI. We've gotten improvements to the economy aspect. We have gotten improvements to the kingdom relationship aspect. Yes, there are still bugs there, but we have gotten improvements. You know what I mean? The whole zero content-wise, no. Maybe it's less content than people want to see, but every major patch has had content that came along with a lot of fixes. And that is the truth. No reason to believe the rest 2/3 will be, especially considering that you are on the track. Again, why not? This is very opinionated. No reason to believe. Why not? If you read previous statements from the developers, they have stated the first part will be stability, performance, all that. Close to the end will be content and all the other stuff. So how's that hard to believe if that's what was stated? You know? Again, like I said before, a good statement, and then you have an opinionated statement. You know, like that's what the form pretty much is, in my opinion. All right, we have another reply. So while we do not have, so he's quoting himself from, I guess, a previous thing, right? So while we do not have a set date for a full release at this moment in time, we expect that the game will be in early access for around a year. Our focus is on ensuring that the game is fun and enjoyable rather than imposing a deadline that might have a negative impact on the final product. Now, the dev states, take from that what you will, but I think we are still on track and can stand by the statement. If it takes longer than a year, it takes longer. And ultimately, the game will be ready when it is ready. But you shouldn't for one moment think that we will be just fixing bugs and then call it a day when the self-imposed timer is up. Again, makes sense. You know, if it does take longer, it's going to take longer. They're going to delay the release and until it's done. And also, like you said right here, they're not just going to be fixing some bugs and that's it, and then call it a day when this year is up. They're going to keep going until the game is finished in their eyes. Again, makes sense. And you still choose to ignore the question of our ideas being discussed by the developers and how do developers look at the forums. Here's a crazy thing. By him replying, what's it called? By the devs replying 3 times, that should give you a kind of an input on how they are, you know. Your ideas are being discussed. He's even discussing this idea. If you go into his post history, you'll see all the ideas that are being discussed. Like I said before. Again, he didn't ignore the question. Like you can see, he's giving you what he thinks to your question. Okay, so what does this guy have to say? I personally did not refer to any deadline. Let me help you understand. Roughly 1/3 of the early access is complete, and the progression of the game is close to zero content-wise. No reason to believe that the rest 2/3 will be. Okay, so here's a crazy thing. So by saying 1/3 and then the other 2/3, you're saying that once this 2/3 is done, that's the deadline. Yes, you didn't state the word deadline, but you did refer to a deadline. Again, what is this? Look, I'm gonna keep it honest with you. If you're gonna come at somebody, right? If you're gonna come with this whole like, let me help you understand. First of all, this is a very like, let me help you understand. Like this statement right here, it's just one of those statements where it's just like, you know, he's about to say some negative. You know, he's about to say it. Like it's just about to come out, right? Let me help you understand. Like nothing positive comes after you this statement, right? But yeah, you're contradicting yourself, man. Neither I had an intention to imply that you were slow or whatever. Okay, they never stated anything about slow. My statement is about the development of the game content-wise. Yes, but if you read the EA description of the game and also other statements made by the devs, they're doing as they stated. Content is coming a little bit later, especially the content that I guess this player wants to see. Like, you know? let's see what else he has to say. I was going to skip it, but let's just see what else he has to say, right? Has been 4 months since the EA started, which account for 1/3 of the estimated early access progress. So far, the game is neither fun nor enjoyable. Oh, here we go. First of all, neither fun or enjoyable. That is opinionated. I know a lot of people who play dead games where the games, like, what I mean by dead games is developers don't even care about the game anymore, but they still find it fun and enjoyable. That's very opinionated. I find the game very fun and enjoyable, you know? I found it very fun and enjoyable when it first came out, even with all the bugs and all that, you know? So, again, very opinionated. It lacks even the fundamentals. Which fundamentals? The fundamentals of a Mount and Blade game, it does not lack. It has all of them. In terms of a Mount and Blade game, the fundamentals, if we're talking about, you know, having a character, leveling up a character, getting good gear, buying items, getting troops, getting into battles, taking over, all that is there. That's the fundamentals of a Mount and Blade game. If I got that fundamentals wrong, let me know, but that is pretty much the fundamentals of the game. It does not lack those. And if you are going to state a statement like this, like I said before, give an example. There's no example here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, whenever you make statements like this, they're stronger with examples. They're stronger with stuff. You know what I mean? If you're going to make a stand that, oh, well, this is not good, let the people know why, if that kind of makes sense, right? Development-wise, the last 4 months, I've just been dealing with the fundamentals. It lacks even the fundamentals. The last 4 months, we've been dealing with the fundamentals. Okay? That people can finally run the game and so on. Yes, it sounds funny. No, not really, because, look, the game, unfortunately, it's not going to run on low-end PCs. And if it does, it has to be on very low settings overall. You know, it's updated graphics, and it has a lot of stuff that's going on at the same time. So obviously, you're going to need a little bit better of a PC. But the devs are still trying to optimize the saves and optimize, like, you know, how much memory is used so low-end PCs can still play. It doesn't sound funny. It's just part of, you know, the development process, you know. It's just how it is. The game came out, what's it called? Did it come out this year or last year? This year, right? So, it came out in 2020. So, if you think about it, you know, if someone has a PC from, you know, let's say 8 years ago, like, it might not be able to run it. That's just how it is. You know, again, kind of... Wait, it hasn't touched the bond. To make it worse, in the last 4 months, the fundamentals have not been solved yet. Again, what fundamentals are we talking about? Give me an example. If they haven't been solved yet and you're so... Give me an example, man. That is to say, there's a profound reason to believe the upcoming months will be about fundamentals too. Again, from where? If we're talking about the developer statements about the game, the official statements, this is not what they've stated. So, again, opinionated. And to be honest, not even backed up by any facts imaginable. So what to conclude from this fact? It's not a fact. It's not a fact. Everything that's been said here is unfortunately not a fact. It's the unfortunate truth. Here's a conclusion. Does the community have expectations for new content? Yes. Does the community have any hopes for new content anymore? No. Not true. People who have kept up with what developers have been saying and going through statements, they know what's coming in the future. They do. Hope the game takes longer than a year. To think it will be released in approximately next month is worrisome. Here's the crazy thing. When we went through this whole code refactor thing, people were very upset. A lot of players on the forums were very upset that thinking, oh, the game's going to be prolonged. You know, early access is going to be prolonged. You know, they're not going to stick to their 1 year schedule. And now, since they stated they are sticking to the 1 year schedule, people are upset about that as well. So, I don't know what to tell people who are very upset about everything that's being said. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, they proved you wrong and they stated that, hey, we are on track when people thought they weren't. And now you're upset that they are on track. I don't know what else to say. I don't got nothing else to say. Let's read these two last ones. 100% my sentiments, and this is the guy who, you know, was the software engineer, and he actually stated some facts. Yes. There it is. Now, after 4 months, the game is much more stable and pretty I think he meant pleasable, right? Which is true. It is more stable. You can go back to the other patches, like I stated before, and you can see it's a lot more stable. Some few things have been added, but a nice feature about permadeath and aging is almost totally implemented, assuming that the old characters start dying in the next patch. Rebellion's revolt system is partially implemented into the game, and adding new diplomacy and relations options with lords do not look like too much of a complicated task compared to much deeper features. Again, things that have been added. I mean, I think the current situation is not as bad, and the biggest problem has been the amount of time invested in the refactoring. Yes, I think since a lot of time was invested into the refactoring, players have it in their mind that, hey, this is going to happen every month. No, it was an unfortunate thing that happened, but they're on schedule, and they're going to do what has to be done. But alright guys, my throat hurts. It's a damn 35-minute plus video. And yeah, I'm going to link this down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. And yeah, I'm going to go from there. But hey, what a thread. What a thread. That's all I got to say. Alright. Like always, ask me any questions, any concerns, and stay safe.